Dear learners, welcome to fourth session on week 2 module of Cloud Computing for Beginners. Hope everyone had good knowledge in third session on storage virtualization. Now we are going to discuss about network virtualization in fourth session. This refers to abstracting network resources that were traditionally delivered in hardware to software. With this introduction, we will enter into fourth session. Thank you, learners.
So hello learners, in this week 2 module of Cloud Computing for Beginners, we are going to discuss about network virtualization. So this session summarizes about the basics of network virtualization. So what is network virtualization? So it is nothing but you are going to virtualize the network. So it is called to be as a function which is going to serve as a virtualized environment. So it can be virtualized through SDN and so on. So network function virtualization is an architecture concept that proposes using IT virtualization technologies to virtualize the entire class of network what we are having in hand inside the environment into building blocks that can be connected, chained, or together to create a communication service. So this figure represents the network which is going to have the separation of control and data path. So all the control path and data path inside the network is connected to the top of the physical network present inside the pool of resources in the virtualized environment. Learners, can you think and state why this network virtualization is far more important inside the virtualized environment? Can you think? Let us see. So whenever we are going to have this network virtualization inside the environment, virtualized environment, we can reduce the number of physical devices what we are going to use. We can reduce the number. We can easily segment the networks. So network can be partitioned into various segments. It will permit the rapid change inside the environment. Then it will go ahead with security from destruction of physical devices. If any sort of failure, the mode can be recovered by changing the network. The next one is scalability. We can scale up or we can scale down due to the demand of the customers. Then agility can be improvised. So depending upon the speed, it will be going ahead with fast-paced inside the environment. So these are the point why network virtualization is so important. We can have the reduction in number of physical devices. We can easily segment the networks. We can permit the changes. And we can go with security concern by reducing the destruction of physical devices. We can have recovery whenever there is a failure. Then we can scale up or we can scale down. Agility can be improvised. Next one is types of virtualization. There are two types. One is external and another one is internal. So external virtualization can be done in the environment where it is apart from pool of resources. And internal virtualization is something which can happen inside the server, host, and storage arrays, which is present inside the data center. Challenges. Whenever coming towards challenges, we can literally state that it is higher demand whenever it is coming to data. So network visibility of the data which it is going to represent or which it is going to store or which it is going to process is highly challenges. The next one is managing such a complex virtual network and a physical network and putting up the softwares for managing, hosting, tracking, auditing, everything. It's a very big challenge. So we are in need of so much of softwares and sophisticated skill set of technologies to maintain this network virtualized environment. The next one is vendors. So we will be borrowing all the network components from the vendors. So vendors will be of different types and varieties. It is heterogeneous. So services can be of complex, and the failure will only recovered by the suppliers. Finding and holding an appropriate networking staff is challenging in the migrating world. Staff can be migrated, environment can be migrated, data can be migrated depending upon the application. So everything is challenging. So the staff should hold a highly sophisticated knowledge or technical knowledge, manage this sort of networks. Application. Network virtualization can be applied in some sort of use cases. For example, in multi-tenant data centers, then in private networks where security is more concerned, then in some sort of enterprises and campuses where the traffic should be isolated in some sort of sense, where it is going to have high traffics. These are all some sort of areas or use cases where the network can be virtualized. So this is a basic reference model. It is going to have the technique called as orchestra. It is going to have the terminal, access infrastructure, and access routers. So these are all the electronic components which can be blended to virtualize our network. It is not mandatory to dig deeper into these components. Just we can have an overview of this terminal component, access infrastructure, and access routers. So your network is going to be virtualized. So it is nothing but you are going to virtualize the network. A network is going to function as a service for that environment. So this is a simple physical virtualization layer where you are having virtual resources, virtualization layer, and physical resources. The resources are termed to be as Ether network in network virtualization bed. Virtualization layer is replaced by tunnels. Tunnel will hopefully have fiber channels and Ethernet switches, which will have the protocol controller, which is between the host and the storage array, which is called as a subsystem in the network. So this is a case study of network virtualization in the data center. So in this figure, it is having wires and control protocols. So n number of machines are present in data center, likewise VMs. Two data center has been connected with the controller, where there are so much of control protocols and softwares to manage the network virtualization. Then you are having the internet, you are having the components termed to be switches, aggregation switches, and top of rack switches. So data center will hold the physical machine as well as VMs. It will hold the controllers. It will connect it to the internet. So entire data center is going to have the wires and control protocols and softwares and virtualized networks, which is going to have the switches, aggregations, and top of rack switches. So this protocol is going to manage everything. So thus the data center is holding the network virtualization inside its path. This is an example of NFV. Thank you, learners.
Dear learners, hope week 2's fourth session had created an understanding of network virtualization. Thank you all.